Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Good Morning Sunday Sideline Report here at SIP and coming live on the SportsInsanityNetwork.com. I am Mark Oldopsky Halpern, and I am here with the one and only Danny Boy Reginald.
Hey, what's going on, lots guy? How's it going?
I'm feeling boosted, Dan. How about you?
I'm more than boosted, so it's it's great. And I told you, didn't it knock you out a little
Oh
bit?
my God, I was home. I got home. I slept for 5.5 hours. And then 3 hours later, I was back to sleep at about 8 o'clock. And I got
Yeah,
up at 9 this morning almost.
yeah. So I'm glad that you were able to get that, and I'm glad you're feeling better. That's
Yeah.
all.
Oh,
That's all
yeah.
we need.
Yep. So we got a good morning of football, a lot to talk about. But we're going to touch on something quick. Injury report as of this morning. It looks like for the Arizona Cardinals that it's definite that DeAndre Hopkins will miss yet another game. And they have now made it a game time decision for Kyler Murray, which most likely points to as him not starting today yet again. Dan, we talked about this quickly. For the Arizona Cardinals, it doesn't necessarily hurt them if they lose.
Well, no, because I believe they have we have another 8 weeks, 7 weeks left in the season.
Correct.
So again, they have a good enough record where if they lose this week and then go on a bit of a run throughout the next 6 or so weeks, that they should have still have a chance at a playoff spot. So that's why I'm not too worried about the Arizona Cardinals. The most important thing is making sure you're all your players are healthy, because you can't have this lingering thing where you know your best quarterback is out, best wide receivers out. That's not good. So rather than playing both of them, why don't you give them a rest? You have it through the bye week, and then you can go out there and start to prove yourself, get yourself ready for the playoffs. And it's going to be as tough as it is, with this NFC. So they're going to need all their players to be on their game and healthy.
And I think it's about time if Hopkins hamstring hasn't healed, even though they got the bye week next week. You could IR'd him already, and he misses one game, and then he gets the bye week. And the worst thing is he misses one more game after that, but you would get Kyler back. So it would be a quick trade-off, but that was just the quick early morning edition of the injury report. We'll get the full one probably after 12 o'clock. So we're going to recap quickly Thursday night's game. The New England Patriots stopped yet again the Atlanta Falcons. They did what Dallas did and froze Matty Ice and beat them 25-0. Now, mind you, in the Super Bowl, that's what the Atlanta Falcons were up by. They were up 28-3. They were up by 25 points. So we know Atlanta decides to open up, 25-point game. We're going to come back and win this one. Yeah, no, they didn't do anything. The Atlanta Falcons have not scored a point. I mean, no, not a point, not a touchdown in their last 6 quarters. 7 quarters. Dan, what's happening to Atlanta?
I mean, what's happening to Atlanta is they're just not a good football team. They
Plain
really
and
aren't.
simple.
They're not a good football team. They lay an egg against a streaking New England Patriots. And, all three strings of their quarterbacks threw interceptions, 4 interceptions total.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much the first time in history
Yeah.
that you've had 3 different quarterbacks come in all throwing a pick.
Yeah. And, not only that, but the production overall from Atlanta, offensively, defensively, they're showing nothing. There's just nothing coming out from that team. And again, I on Thursday night gave a pass to their head coach, Smith. And I said, as a rookie coach, it is tough to, you really give a valid criticism, because, what if the team stinks? Well, you have to sort of give them a little bit of a pass. what I saw last night was totally on the coaching because I mean, as much as the Patriots scored 25 points and 25 points, that's a decent amount of points there for a team. The Patriots weren't doing much. They had an up tempo offense, very quick rhythm, short passing. They weren't very explosive. So they didn't get a lot of the stops that they needed to get. So that one I do put on the coaching, unfortunately.
Now, you also mentioned a good point. They lost to a streaking New England team who has been on fire since losing to the Cowboys roughly 5 games ago. Mac Jones is vaulting himself week by week, and he's just getting better. We're not looking at the first few games that Mac Jones played where he was shaky, a little uncomfortable. He's running a great offense right now and doing it, him and Damian Harris. But when you look at it, they don't have star-studded receivers, but they're making it work. And can we call that Bill Belichick's doing?
Well, yeah, and I even just mentioned it. The fact that they have a short passing, quick rhythm, no huddle approach here for the offense. And obviously the defense, we already know the defense is one of the best in the league, and it is becoming dangerous as the weeks go on. But this offense is also slowly growing, and Mac Jones is very Brady-esque here. Not necessarily Brady, but it's Brady-esque. He is feeling comfortable doing this very quick rhythm offense, this short passing offense, something that has been getting the Patriots going over this past season. And that is hats off to Bill Belichick for one, bringing this type of play style into the NFL. Having this type of thing for Mac Jones to succeed in, for his receivers to succeed in, and it's working great. It is working great, and I'm very impressed by this Patriots team all across the board. Their defense is very hard hitting. Offense is very smooth, and right now it's becoming very clear that if you're teams like the Buffalo Bills who are trying to get that division, you don't want to be facing the Patriots during this time of year.
Now, it's a nice turn of events. I mean, when you look at all the rookie quarterbacks that were drafted and are playing this year, obviously the focus was going to be on Trevor Lawrence going at 1. And then you have to look at Justin Fields, who came on. He's getting a little better, but, the quarterback rookie of the year, I mean, if you had an award for that, has to be Mac Jones right at the top. I don't think he can win offensive player of the rookie of the year, but he's making a cause for it.
Mm.
And, hats off to Mac, and I hope he keeps doing the things he's doing because I like him. I like the kid.
Yeah. One thing for the Patriots, though, they do have a pretty tough schedule coming up. They have a game against the Titans. That's next week. And then they have the December 6th against the Bills. Then a bye week. And then they have the Colts, and then they're back against the Bills. That's actually a very tough schedule for them because those are good teams that they're facing.
Right. And two of them obviously being the Bills being in their division.
Yes.
So that's gonna splitting one would be very good for them.
Yes,
that would help.
I agree.
But in all likelihood, the Bills should win both games. But if he keeps getting better, we could say. But yes, that is a very tough schedule.
Yeah,
now,
it's a tough schedule only because of the fact that you're facing good teams. Those are really good teams on that schedule.
Right. You can't shake off Indianapolis at all. The Titans, each team is doing wondrous things, but it'll be a fun road for the Patriots. And it's going to be fun to watch. Moving over to the Northeast, I'm a big fan of Vinny Testaverde. I watched it from Tampa and all. Went to Dallas, went to the Jets, and it was Vinny and the Jets. But we're not talking about Vinny. We're talking Joe Flacco and the Jets today.
Oh my God.
The New York Jets have decided that after Mike White's disastrous week, now mind you, every starting quarterback has a disastrous week. It happens. This kid is a rookie, has a disastrous week, and they're going to the old wise man, Joe Flacco. Dan, I had said this to you before. I think when we heard the news on Thursday, I texted you, and I said, "What the hell, man?" And your response was perfect. Smack in the face. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, what I don't understand it, and look, Zach Wilson's not. It's not that he isn't healthy. Robert Saleh made this clear. Zach Wilson is very much healthy. He's just not confident because you know how when you have a knee injury or a foot injury or any type of injury with your leg, you can get fully healthy and be perfectly fine, but it's about playing on it and planting it on the ground. Zach Wilson just isn't confident about that yet. So Zach Wilson is healthy, but he's just not confident in playing on that knee, which I totally understand. And that's why you have that 3 to 4 week timeline where he can sit down, rest, and get himself confident to be back playing. But if you know that Zach Wilson's not going to be playing, why would you put in Flacco? It just makes no sense. Look, I understand Mike White had a bad game. He had a bad game, but he had a bad game against the Buffalo Bills. Bills arguably the best defense in the league. So, one bad game and you're just going to sit him down and ruin his confidence. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like that's a coaching mistake that you don't make. So I feel horrible for Mike White. And now you have to put in Flacco, who hasn't shown that he wants to be in New York. He's been on the sideline. He really hasn't done much. So nothing about watching Flacco play is going to make me excited about today's game. And, I'm just sick and tired of this franchise that continues to make some poor decisions. Are they trying to salvage this trade that they made, this terrible trade that, again, now it's a terrible trade because Flacco hasn't done anything yet. And yet they gave up a 6th-round pick that could turn to a 5, Mark.
Yeah. And that's when they signed Flacco, I understood it in the beginning. I kind of understood it, give a little veteran presence.
Yeah.
I think he's played in one game and it's basically only completed, 3 passes in garbage time. Joe Flacco isn't what he was when he was in Baltimore.
Yeah.
He's older, he's slower. Yes, you're going up against a Miami defense that has one of the worst passing secondaries, except for Xavier. However, it's more of a question is you double down on Corey Davis, take out your leading target reception.
Right.
And you have to have other players step up. Carter, Mims.
Yeah.
They all got to step up today.
Yeah. The only ones out of the people you listed, Carter's like literally the best chance to actually step up because he's stepped up all season.
Yeah.
And he's actually been very productive running back.
And I think they can really build off him.
Yeah,
I think
so too.
He's very versatile.
Yeah, I don't get it, dude.
But enough torturing Dan on this.
Well, here's what I will say. That defense has to come up big. And if this defense doesn't come up big, it just proves that Jeff Ulbrich and Saleh have coached this defense poorly. And I think they need a defensive coordinator change back this season. I really do.
And there'll be some names out there that they can go get after this season, and help out. Moving on, we had talked about this on our SIP broadcast, but the Washington football team lost Chase Young. And I just want to touch on this very quickly. When you lose your defensive team captain, your defensive leader, that's a hit. Yes, it's we're talking about the defense here. We're talking about a Redskin defense that shut down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes.
without Chase Young, how much is this a mental, not physical, but a mental hit for this team?
Well, I mean, look, obviously you nailed it right there. It's his presence, his leadership, just having him there is what's going to give the Washington defense confidence. And the fact that he's not going to be there is going to be really tough. While he's not had a great second season, and his production's really not that much down, but his presence makes a big difference for that defense. Let me tell you this defense. Let me give you this. They're 27th ranked overall, the third worst in the passing game, 280 passing yards per game, 27 points per game, which is fourth worst. And then, they do well with stopping the run, 97 yards a game. So, it's a it's not a very good defense just by looking at it. So, Washington without Chase Young, while again hasn't had the greatest season, his production's not way down, but they're gonna miss him and his leadership, and they could really use a defensive leader right now. And Ron Rivera's got to get the most out of his guys, because if you're going to be facing this Panthers team with the rejuvenated and with Cam Newton and a rejuvenated offense that wants to do well for Cam Newton to win, like this is a big concern for Washington. It really is.
Yeah, mind you, I would like to see Washington lose only from a Dallas standpoint, but you had to come last year and respect the Washington defense. This year, it's just like a complete change.
Yeah, it has regressed, and that's very frustrating because Ron Rivera's defenses have always been good. I never once have I complained about a Ron Rivera coach defense ever.
Right.
So even when he was back when he was defensive coordinator, like I never seen any defenses from him that were bad. So this is like one of the first times where it's like, wow, this defense is really bad. And it's a shame because Washington deserves, especially after winning the division, a terrible division last year, but they won division. Mm-hmm. You want to build off of that. And they haven't.
It's like they reinforced their defense, but they tried bringing in a old veteran quarterback. No offense to Fitzmagic, but it didn't work out. I think that hurt Heineke early because after the performance he put on last year.
Yes.
And now we see him starting to come back a little bit, especially after last week's game.
Mm-hmm.
But let's move on to this week because we got some great matchups going on today. The Buffalo Bills will be facing the Indianapolis Colts at 1:00 today. You got a Bills team that's coming off a absolutely pounding win over the New York Jets last week. And you have a Colts team that in the beginning that started 1-4 are now 5-5. This Indianapolis Colts team has started to become electrified, and they're only going to get better because you got Ty Hilton back. Jonathan Taylor is producing at a unimaginable rate. But you can't take away from the Bills. The Bills have the best defense in football. I mean, I'm sure if Moser's listening, he just smiled a little bit. The Buffalo Bills do have the best defense in football, but they have been vulnerable. Look at the game against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And that was a game they should have won by Jets type numbers. What does this game mean more for? Is this more for the Bills or more for the Colts, Dan?
Well, it's definitely more for the Bills only because right now the Bills are 6-3, and they're trying to prove. I mean, they beat up the Jets. Good, that's a good confidence booster that they needed. Because they lost to Jacksonville, another terrible team. So they're trying to get back that confidence, and what a way to do it against a terrible Jets team. So now they're going to go into they're going to face Indianapolis. Indianapolis is going to Buffalo. And, this is an Indianapolis team that has gotten better and better each week. So they're not a team to play around with and settle. The Bills have to come out with a power punch here. They can't be complacent like they were against Jacksonville. Power punch on both sides of the ball. If they can do that, they'll be just fine. They will be just fine. And you said it, the NFL or NFL's best defense, Buffalo Bills. They come up very huge, really, against the pass. They really do. And that's with all types of QBs this season. Whether it's on a bad team, whether it's on a good team, they've come up big. But keep in mind, this defense has to be careful because that tight end, that receiver duo with Wentz and Pittman, that is starting to become a thing.
Yeah,
especially on third down. On
Mm-hmm.
third down, that is becoming a big time weapon there.
Yeah, he has been one of the most reliable players when it comes to third down statistics this season.
Yeah.
Very strong player. And, he's building on last year's end of the year success because he really didn't get a start much last year.
Yes.
And he was originally signed on to be a running back, but they had Jonathan Taylor and him. So they moved him to wide receiver. What a move.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and who would have thought, him making such big plays?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see it, but now you're looking at a full first string Indianapolis offense now.
Yes.
They're all back. T.Y. Hilton's back. And that just gives Carson Wentz another opportunity and another weapon.
Yeah. And keep in mind, you just said the fact that he's progressing, not regressing. He regressed in Philly. He's progressing in Indianapolis. And the fans are excited. The fans love it. The fans want this. So again, it's only about making sure that they, that he gives them what they want, and that's a winner.
And that's why this game is actually so important because, yes, Buffalo, from a standpoint, has to be able to stay one step ahead of the Patriots. But the Indianapolis Colts, who I said was starting at 1-4, are now 5-5, and they're very much alive in the playoff race.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that AFC, there's no gimme here.
Right. I mean, you get your automatic 4 with the division winners.
Yeah.
But they're making a case that they belong. And I really think this game is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are picking.
I think so too. And again, it's only because you have two good offenses. You have a solid defense with the Bills that's going to, have a bit of a challenge here. So I think this is going to be a really good game out in Orchard Park. They're gonna, and it's gonna be really exciting, really. Yeah, and I'm really curious to see how Wentz does against this Bills defense. I really am. Like I don't know. Like I'm rooting, hard for Wentz because I know.
Sorry, Moser.
He's been exactly. Yeah, he's at the game today. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He flew home yesterday to watch the Bills.
You got to give the kid credit. We'll give him credit there.
Yeah. So Wentz, if you're listening, just be up the Bills so that Moser can have a terrible Thanksgiving. Just kidding, Nate.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I'm rooting hard for Carson Wentz because of the disrespect that this man has gotten over the years.
Yes, and he deserves the respect.
Absolutely, and I just hope that not only does it continue on for this season, but many seasons to come.
Yeah. Moving on to a very big divisional rival. In the NFC North, we have the Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, on paper, the Minnesota Vikings are much better than what they have been. Every game for them has been close. I mean, they've only lost by an average of 5 points a game on those losses.
Yeah.
But they're starting to show a little bit of life. And when you got a team of Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen, and Kirk Cousins, it's a good team on paper for Kirk Cousins to throw with. But you also have to look at the Green Bay Packers, who now are back at first string strength with Aaron Rodgers now shaking off the rust from the COVID. You got Devontae Adams back, at full strength. You got all their receivers, Lazard, Scantling, Cobb. There's a lot of weapons in this offensive part of the game for today. The defensive part, you got a good Packers secondary that could slow down, but you can't just say, oh, we're going to play a cover defense with Dalvin Cook on the field, because Dalvin Cook could just run the ball all day.
Yes.
What are we looking for out of today's game from, let's start with the Vikings part, Dan.
Well, for the Vikings, you got to make the Green Bay earn it on defense, because your passing isn't bad. It's all about scaring the teams and making sure that they, don't get interceptions and making sure that they don't do it, because once you give a team like the Packers a chance at defense to make a big play, and then they turn that big play on defense into points on offense, that's where it gets you. That's where it's going to get you. So you don't want that for the Vikings. Definitely that. Obviously, you got to use your another big gun in Dalvin Cook, who again has been very solid for them all season. And then on top of that, your defense is also very good. So then, you have to also contain the Packers, who again are very, very hungry to win, especially for Aaron Rodgers, who continues to have a lot of scrutiny going on in his current life.
He's got enough distractions, but he's playing through them.
Yes.
And that's always a good sign that he's not letting the mental aspect get to him. Going over to Green Bay, you have Aaron Rodgers, one of the top quarterbacks in football, who can throw the ball very well. He got great receivers. We know they're good, but let's talk about it's not the elephant, but Aaron Jones is out. He's missing 2 to 3 weeks. A.J. Dillon has been explosive all year as coming off the bench in his receiving game and in his running game, as we saw last week. Is this game going to be more of a running game for Green Bay against a stiff Vikings defense?
I mean, I would think so. I mean, don't count out the passing game too, and I think they'll utilize that to a degree too. But definitely, if they're trying to use that sort of ground and pound approach to make that defensive line suffer for Minnesota.
Okay, and then if Minnesota comes up to play on it, you can't put 8 in the box with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Because then you're playing man-on-man coverage, and we know Devontae Adams can beat anybody down the field and get a reception, but you have to look across the board. They got 3 other very talented receivers.
Very, yes.
And that makes Green Bay a very scary team, and they're 8-2. I mean, Green Bay is a force to be reckoned with. But in this division, teams play each other very well.
Yeah,
and it's always been a very exciting game to watch, no matter what. Exactly. It could be an 0-8 Vikings team versus a undefeated Packers team, and it'll probably be decided by a 3-point game.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I give this NFC North a lot of credit. All these teams, especially the Detroit Lions, those poor winless Detroit Lions, the fact that they always keep it close, it's never a gimme. It's never a gimme. So that's why this division is so dangerous.
Yeah.
And why this matchup is very good for football.
You know the fans are going to be out in full force today. There's going to be cheese heads. There's going to be Viking helmets. That's football. That's fan spirit. We love that. Another major fight today, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are at 5-4, take on the Las Vegas Raiders, who were absolutely destroyed by the KC Chiefs last week. The Raiders had been pretty solid over the last few weeks, even with all the complications from news stories, which we've touched on. We're not going to get into that. But it looked like they were really distracted last week. and weren't there. Is this a sign that maybe they just had that one mental oops and they're going to play Cincy much better this week?
I think the Raiders have done a great job at masking all the distractions and playing to the best of their ability and grabbing some wins along the way. And you know what? We gave them credit. We said, hey, look, this is despite all the BS going on out in Las Vegas, it has, they have been keeping it together. They've been playing fairly well. And, that's something that you have to look and say, I respect that. But then there comes a time where it's going to break it all. It's going to come down on you. And you know that once it hits you, you're done. Like, once everything is just all on you, all that weight, it's really hard for teams, to play to their best. And clearly they didn't do it last week against Kansas City. I don't even know they're going to do it against Bengals team that's coming off a bye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So, in that Bengals team, despite, having been great over the past couple of weeks, they've actually been a very, very good team this season. And, with that stud and Chase, being that big receiver that they've been looking for, it's incredible. Obviously, Joe Burrow being a major quarterback of them. So, it's something that the Raiders, it might be a bit of a trap game for the Raiders. And I think with all the stuff going on, obviously, even though they're trying not to, let it affect them, it's going to affect them a little bit.
Right. I mean, Joe Burrow is definitely having a nice resurgent year. I was kind of miffed when he went down with that injury, last year. I felt bad for the kid. But today, this is a game where he has to show a little bit more, in my opinion. I mean, he's been good all season, but they're 5-4 when they should easily be 7-2. They lost. I mean, the pickoff that Denzel Ward had last week, I really don't blame on Joe Burrow because the pass was where it was intended, where it was supposed to be. But that was a great pickoff. So I don't fault that on Joe Burrow, but he's got to produce a huge game today, in my opinion, if Cincinnati wants to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Another game I want to touch very fast on, and it's the Cleveland Browns versus the Detroit Lions. Now, Detroit came out with a tie last week, which I still think is most ridiculous for football, but I think this is the game Cleveland needs right now to get Baker Mayfield not thinking about his injuries, and you get Nick Chubb back. Do the Browns win this like a 40-point game?
On paper, yes. I don't know, though. Like, in reality, I just don't know because you don't know what Lions team you're going to get every week. That's sort of been the story all year. What type of Lions team are you getting? Are you getting a Lions team that's going to be very competitive? They've been very competitive in many games this season. Or you can get a Lions team that's going to not do so well. They've done that a few weeks out of the season. So you have to, if you're the Browns, like definitely take advantage of the fact that you are a better team than Detroit, and you're going to, do whatever it takes to win that game. If it's a close game, it's a close game, but you don't want it to be close. That's not good for a team that's trying to make a playoff run. Like, teams are not going to take you seriously.
Right.
And the Browns need to be taken seriously, especially after that debacle against New England.
Right. And this is a game where with a Detroit defense that is not very good on the run. They're close to dead end in the run. And when you got a player like Nick Chubb, that could be an issue. Yes. This could be a great game for Chubb today. He could have easily 150 yards and a couple of TDs on the day. Even go for that elusive 200-yard total with his reception ability.
Yes.
So now we're going to get to Sunday's game of the week.
Mm.
4:30 today, the Dallas Cowboys, who are sitting at 7-2, will face the Kansas City Chiefs at 8-4
Ooh.
in a massive interconference showdown today at 4:30. Dan, the moment we have talked about this game for all week, and we've been talking about it on both sides. And even though I'm the big Dallas fan in the group,
Yes.
Noah, you're second. This game today could be repeated again in about 2 months. Could we be looking at the Super Bowl right now?
This matchup, unfortunately, Mark, I'm going to have to slowly roll a little bit. I don't think this is a Super Bowl matchup. And the reason why I don't think it is because I don't trust this Chiefs defense. I know that, their past few games, they're quietly on what, 4-game winning streak now?
Yes.
So they're and of course that hasn't really been a big story yet.
Except for last week's game, but
I guess, but you know what I mean. Like,
yes.
They beat, out of those games, they beat Washington, they beat the Giants, and they beat what?
They beat the Packers.
The Packers
but only by 6.
The Raiders. But let's be real here. Like, they're sorry, I want to get this right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's right. So it's a 3-game winning streak, not 4-game.
Not 4.
You get my point.
Yeah.
They won 4 or 5. But like, I don't know if I could really trust the defense if they're, if their wins have come off of teams that aren't like as good, or and I feel like this Dallas team is much better than the teams that they beat, except for the Packers. And the Packers were even depleted. They were without, Aaron Rodgers that game.
And they only won by 6.
Yeah. So, and again, I give the defense credit for those games, but I'm talking about games against teams like Dallas who could put up massive amounts of points, both offensively and defensively.
This game to me is a scary game because I know that the Dallas offense is going to do fine, especially on a Kansas City defense that is absolutely at the bottom of the league in both categories.
Yeah.
And they played very well last week against the Raiders. I will not take that away from them. Their defense stepped up, but it's still the Raiders, but the Raiders aren't a horrible team. But they blew them out of the water 41-17. I mean, it was a little concerning. You got a Dallas team that, after having an embarrassing week to Denver, came in and blew out the Atlanta Falcons. It's not that hard to do, as we saw it just happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But this Dallas team is not the team it was last year. Dak's at full strain. And however, the Dallas Cowboys will be missing a vital part of their offense today.
Yeah.
As Amari Cooper was put on the COVID-19 reserve list. Now, that also will now make him unavailable for Thursday's game against the Raiders on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Is it an absolute destroy to Dallas? Yes, because he is a vital part of that offense. Do they have the piece to fill him in? Yes. Cedric Wilson will be starting today, and that moves CeeDee Lamb to the 1 and Michael Gallup to the 2, and you're going to have Cedric Wilson, you're going to have Noah Brown. But I think this is going to be more of a Zeke Tony Pollard game.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree with you. I feel like those are the two, even though you have your receivers. I feel like those are the two that have to have monster games for Dallas. They cannot rely on, not that the receivers aren't good enough, but they cannot rely on the passing game to get the victory here. Got to run it down their throats. And you have 2 big backs that can do it. And Dak Prescott, once again, has to show, not only does he have to have a good game, he has to have a serviceable game. He doesn't have to be the big name here. He just has to be the guy that gives it to the big name.
Right. And, last week we didn't see a lot of the run because Dallas didn't need it. They were up by so much that Pollard got a lot of garbage time. Dak ran it a few times, but then we saw some backup players. This week, the record for a combined running back duo of 250 yards could be broken today with Dak and Zeke.
Yes.
Dak and Zeke and Tony.
Hey, I get your point, dude.
Yeah. I still see Dak Prescott throwing for at least 25 to 30 passes. But I think little screens and a lot of running is what's going to win this game.
Yes.
Now, the Chiefs get back a vital part of their offense today in Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, that's
and
huge.
that is, when they drafted him last year, I was kind of excited for them because that was it's a one piece they've really been missing. It's a solid running back.
Yeah.
And I knew he was going to do well for him. And then unfortunately, he got injured last year. He's missed the last few weeks with that same knee. He's back today, but he will be splitting carries with Darrell Wilson. He won't play 30, 40 plays for himself, but he's going to be out there. And anytime he's out there, he's a threat to get the ball and actually do something with it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm kind of excited. It's a first string Kansas City offense against a first string Dallas defense. And then you got a first string Dallas offense against a first string KC defense. So there's no excuses to be made here in this game that, we played a inferior defense and no.
Exactly. Yeah.
There can be, you're playing first strings across the board.
Right.
And this could be a game where I don't think it's going to be an event where you're going to see one team win 9-6.
Yeah.
I think we're looking 30s and 20, high 20s, low 30s for both teams.
Yeah.
I have Dallas by 6 in this game, winning 34-28.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot.
Yeah, no, it isn't. And I also have Dallas winning the game. I see actually both teams getting it 30 plus. Like I really do. Like I feel like this is good. It's gonna be, to me, it's gonna be more of a high scoring affair because both offenses are pretty sick. So it's gonna be a good game, but it's what's gonna come down to who's gonna have the better defense in the end, who's gonna make the big plays on defense in the end. I feel like Dallas has the upper hand here. And, like I said, when you want the Chiefs defense has been good all year. Do you trust them to make a big play? I don't trust them at all in all aspects. So that's why I think Dallas is going to win the game. Now the Chiefs are going at 2.5 on the spread, but that's the spread. Right. I'm sorry. It's to me, it's comical that they're just going to dismiss Dallas as if, they're now one of the best teams in the NFL.
Right. And not to take away anything from the Kansas City Chiefs, but they are not the team they were last year or even the year before.
Yeah.
They definitely have regressed this season. And whether it's like we have talked about that, has Patrick Mahomes been figured out? Well, as of last week's game, I don't think they've all figured him out yet.
Well, not the Raiders for sure. No.
But Pat Mahomes seems a little bit uncomfortable in the passing game as he's almost leading the league in interceptions thrown.
Yeah.
And with a Dallas defense that is, which it's hard for me to even believe, is leading the league in interceptions this year.
Yeah.
I'm praying Diggs gets another one. I want to see him break the all-time record now that he actually has a chance at it. We're not talking he's 12 away. He's 6 away. It's a possibility.
Yeah. It's just coming at him like nothing.
He's been great in coverage, and he has his hands full today with Tyreek Hill.
He does, but, have confidence, even if he doesn't get an interception, have confidence that he's going to cover him well because he's been covering receivers well all year long.
And today could be a big day for the safeties as they're going to have to be aware, and the linebackers are going to have to stop the run game because if Dallas moves the chains and the Chiefs moves the chains, this game could be a run over game.
Yes.
Where it's just score until one team makes an error. One more quick game before we get down to our new rhythm.
Sure.
The Cardinals and the Seahawks face off today, and as I mentioned
Oh,
earlier today, they're most likely going to be with that. They're definitely out with DeAndre Hopkins, and they're most likely going to be out with Kyler Murray. You got the 8-2 Cardinals that'll have Colt McCoy behind the center again. Now, the one good thing about that, the one game Colt McCoy won in the last few years was against the Seahawks. So, I mean, that's going for him.
yeah.
But you now have Russell Wilson back.
Yes.
You got a very good Cardinals defense. Do we see a resurgence from Russell Wilson today now that he had a chance to shake off that rust a little bit?
I hope so. Like I don't know. Like, I don't know. This Seahawks team like is another one of those teams where it's like don't really know what to expect, um, both offensively and defensively. And Wilson is still trying to get back from that finger injury. So I hopes that he has practiced well enough where he could have a good game. Otherwise, I don't know what to expect really. I really
And we,
don't.
and we know we hear fantasy people are crying because DK's not getting, 9,
Yeah.
11 passes. Tyler Lockett isn't seeing 9 and 11 passes a
Yeah.
game anymore right now. They've lost Chris Carson for the year. He will have neck surgery. But they have a very serviceable back in Alex Collins. He has been doing pretty good there.
Yes.
But the Cardinals are going to need a big game from James Conner.
Huge.
I think that's where it has to come down to for the Cardinals because I don't trust Colt McCoy that much in throwing the ball.
Yeah, no. And look, we're not expecting Colt McCoy to have big games here. Like there's a reason why he's a backup. So in that case, the Cardinals offense and defense, mostly defense, but definitely offense too, has to, shine in ways to help Colt McCoy out a little bit. And the hope is that they do uh, okay against Seahawks. I think the Seahawks win this game, but you know, I want to see some effort to show that the Cardinals, even though they don't have their best players, that they could still play fairly well against teams. Because if they're as good as they say they are, they should have effort to give against these teams at least.
Now, everybody who's listening, and I know we have people listening to us, I would like you to say a prayer for our boy, Bill. I'm going to have a heart attack and a stroke tomorrow night, Murphy, as the New York Giants will be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mm.
Do we think Brady's going to get his revenge here for those 2 Super Bowl losses on a weak Giant team and just run this score through the roof?
Well, I think for one thing, I think the Giants are going to have a much better game than people are saying. But I do think that Brady does come out on the top here. I think there'll be a little bit too much for New York, and it's one of those games that you hope for the Bucks is in a trap game because the Bucks have fell into many trap games this season so far, and you hope that this is not another one. So they'll do their best to make sure that it's a win, and I think they'll get it easily and put our boy Bill Murphy into a long, long week of misery.
Yeah, we all feel bad for Bill, and we tease him about it, but it's just our NFL banter. We all go off on each other on all teams. So, and Bill knows we love him, and we're just playing with him.
Yeah, and if it makes him better, the Jets are going to lose. So we'll cry like New Yorkers together.
There you go, Bill. See, Dan will even shed some tears with you today.
Yeah,
That's always a good thing. Football this year has been a lot different than last year with fans returning. And Dan, we have talked about this, that we're wanting to see the fans back into it more and more. And when we talked about it on SIP on Monday, and we're happy to see the fans getting back into it. Are the players reacting better to the fact that the fans are in the stands?
Well, they're certainly more excited. And I feel like they're feeding off the energy, which is what these athletes all across sports miss. Like even in baseball is a very boring sport, to many people, not to me, but to many people it is. it's a boring sport. Even in baseball, having crowds back in stadiums helps the team a lot. So, I mean, if it's helping them in baseball, imagine what it could do in football. So, it's been great for the NFL. The fact that they have fans in the stands, that they feed off their energy, that they're giving them what they want, putting out a really good product. And not only is it showing in the attendance, it's showing in the ratings too.
And that's a great thing. With still with the fear of COVID and everything going on, and the fans being allowed back into it makes the sport more enjoyable.
Yes.
Because I've seen every team's opening, and I've seen Dan is going to get a big smile on his face. I love the Jets opening. I love fireman getting up on the shoulders and getting the crowd going. Jets, Jets, Jets. To me,
love that chant.
It's not just one little section doing it. It's the whole stadium.
Yeah.
And that's a morale boost for any team.
Yeah. Now imagine the Jets doing good. If the Jets were good, forget it. That stadium is filled and it shakes. I've been in that crowd before where the fireman Ned does the Jets chant, which is one of my favorite chants ever.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite opening to football.
Yeah. I'm going to be real here. When that stadium is filled and they're excited about the Jets, forget it. It shakes, man. It shakes. You just got to put out a good product. But enough about the Jets. You make a great point. The atmosphere in NFL stadiums is a major factor in how teams play. It is.
And it's great to see the excitement. Now, mind you, the taunting penalty crap has been a stupid thing, penalty.
So stupid.
Yeah. So you taunt, as long as you're not throwing punches or being stupid disrespectful about it, like we see Randy Moss and OBJ and a few other players do it over the time. But it's part of the game.
Yes.
And that's kind of turning the fans a little bit off because that's what you're going to call, but you're not going to call 92 pass interference plays. That should have been called. No, exactly. You turn around and you say something, you get a 15-yard penalty. Come on. That has to leave the NFL. And as I said, if it's disrespectful, crude, whatever, that's one thing.
Well, I could understand the penalty if, again, they're trying to one up a player and shit. But if it's just talking, let them talk. If they're talking to the crowd, let them talk. Like, who cares? It's silly.
To me, if you want to throw a flag at something, the Lambeau leap, that's a taunt.
Hey, there you go. Yeah.
That's a taunt.
If you're talking about what the refs deem as taunting, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. But please, Goodell, let's get rid of this, please. Only keep it to a certain limit. It's part of the game. It's football, but we'll see changes come next year as unfortunately the CBA will come up next year, but hopefully it'll work as smooth as it did in the one before. And we won't have any issues like we're worrying about with baseball right now.
Yeah.
Moving on. And we have our new episode. Instead of our 2-minute warning, it's called The Five. And what it is Dan and I will do quick rapid fire on a couple of subjects that we came up with. And we're going to start with first half of the year awards. Dan, we talk, as we explained, who do you see for your MVP as of today?
If he wasn't injured, it'd be Kyler Murray. I'm sticking with that. You want to know why?
Yes.
Over 2,000 passing yards, 147 rushing yards, TDs. It's up there. It's very much up there.
For me right now, my MVP pick is sitting on, believe it or not, Matt Stafford. I still think what he's done in LA earns him a chance. I mean, last week was a disaster. Not last week, sorry, when they played the Titans, it was a disaster. This week, they have to win if they want to keep pace in that NFC race, especially being one game behind Arizona. Oh, no, they're tied with Arizona, actually. Sorry. But Arizona holds the record breaker, tiebreaker right now. In the NFC, with that just being quickly said, the 5 teams that are definitely going to be in: Dallas, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Rams, and the Cardinals. I think are got a maybe automatic 5. And we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
just quickly.
no, sorry, my fault.
Murray has 17 touchdowns. Does have seven interceptions. But his QBR 63.5. That's dope.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Kyler. We knew he was going to be a star in the NFL. Get better soon, and hopefully get back on the field after your bye week. Yeah. Offensive Rookie of the Year. We've had a couple of names that have done very well, but who do you have as your Offensive Rookie of the Year, Dan?
I have Jamar Chase.
And as do I.
Yeah, I love his 7 touchdowns, over 800 receiving yards, and 44 receptions. It's been tremendous receiver all season. And let's be real here. He's made a difference in that Bengals team. Major difference.
I mean, the joke was out about him in the beginning of the season was, I can't see the ball. It has no lines on it. Because college football has those 2 lines so you can actually spot the ball a little better. That was the joke with Jamar. I can't see the ball coming to me. And he had like 9 drops in the preseason. Yeah, well, that ended week 1. He shut everybody up with a 100-yard receiving day and 2 touchdowns. So he doesn't care about the lines anymore. He has been a dynamic force in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He has caught, passes. And it's not just deep bombs. He's caught him in tight coverage. He's caught him on many very slick routes. And he's the real deal here. Better than Waddle. And I said that earlier. I said he should have went before Waddle, but he didn't. But Waddle's not having a horrible year, but he's not.
No. The team just sucks.
Right. They're not. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. But
no, the team sucks. That's why he's not getting recognition.
Right. And he's not putting up the numbers, that he should get. But he does have a chance today against the New York Jets defense to have a big game. But we'll see. Yeah. Defensive Player Rookie of the Year.
Defensive Player Rookie of the Year. I have Micah Parsons, your boy, Micah Parsons.
Yeah, same answer. Micah Parsons has been, was drafted to be a linebacker. But with the loss of DeMarcus Lawrence after the first game breaking his foot, which he'll be back hopefully in 2 weeks, Micah Parsons has played all over the field. He's been on the line. He's dropped back to linebacker. He is leading rookies with sacks with 7, tackles per game with 8. And he reminds me, he's a little thinner, but he reminds me a lot of DeMarcus Ware with his versatility.
Yes.
And that put a smile on my face because she loves DeMarcus Ware. That's the only Cowboy she's ever liked. And that's because the man sung on NFL on Fox for 7 minutes and she loved it. But he reminds me a lot of the versatility of DeMarcus Ware with his ability to drop back and rush the passer.
Yes.
Now, I know Dan and I are going to definitely be different on this one. Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah. I have Dak Prescott. And the only reason why I have Dak is because there's nothing really much to come back from for Dak. I mean, I know he had a couple seasons ago he broke his leg, the poor thing.
The ankle dislocated it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But here's why, and it's because of the fact that early on in his career, he put up such big numbers, and it started to trend downwards as his career continued to go on. It started trending downwards. This season, it's getting back up there. He's starting to become a very powerful quarterback in the league, and that's what Dallas needs. Dallas, for the longest time, they had Romo, but for the longest time, they needed someone explosive, someone that could be good, and he's proven to that this season too. So I give him that as the comeback player of the year. It's a very bold pick, but I feel like he's having a really big resurgence here that is very, very helpful for the Dallas Cowboys.
He's averaging just about 287 yards a game, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and half a pick a game. And and most of his picks have been tips. So, it's I love hearing that. And you would think I'd be one of the first ones to say Dak. Now, I actually had said somebody earlier, but I kind of changed it after talking about Carson Wentz. He's got to be considered here.
Yeah.
After, his downfall in Philadelphia, he gets brought over to Indianapolis, in which he has a team there to work with, breaks his foot in the preseason, and we're like, oh, here we go. Came back early, had some rust like anybody else would who has an injury. They were 1-4. Now they're 5-5. And yes, Jonathan Taylor does have a lot to do with it. But Wentz is the leader on this team.
Exactly.
He's the one who's got to get the ball out. And like you said, it's great to see a aggressive output than a regressive output from him.
Yes.
And Carson has just been absolutely lights out. Now he has T.Y. Hilton back. It gives him another target to throw to. You got Pittman's having an amazing year. Jonathan Taylor, who's has just been absolutely strong. But that's the only one Dan and I were really a little bit off on. MVP, there's still so many possibilities. But
yeah.
Also, breaking news just coming in. It looks like now Lamar Jackson will not play today.
Yeah,
due to the fact that he has an illness.
Yeah, he's
now
sick,
it is not COVID.
Yeah, thank
Ladies
God.
and gentlemen, it is not COVID that they're holding him out. He's been sick. It is most likely the flu. So what are we going to say? Is Goodell going to say now everybody's got to get the flu? It's going to have to get the flu shot. I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, the flu shot, but believe me, I think the COVID shot's much more useful now than the flu shot. I'm gonna be
right here. But we hope Russell gets not Russell. Sorry, we hope Lamar gets better, and we see him back next week, as he has been pretty much one of the biggest impressive players in the NFL over the last few seasons.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have the best 5 player in football right now. And this one, we're not going to just go back and forth. We're going to let Dan read his. I'll read mine. And any differences, we'll compare. So I'll let Dan, you take out your best 5 players in the NFL right now.
So my list, I have Aaron Donald. Then I have Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Myles Garrett, Kyle Murray.
Okay. And those are some very, very damn good picks.
Yes.
For me, Dak Prescott, Devontae Adams.
Okay.
Mac Jones.
Okay. You know what? I understand that. I do understand that.
Mac Jones, Jonathan Taylor, and Travis Kelce, to me, are my dominant players in the NFL. Now, Dan and I have one agreement, both Devontae Adams, and I know our president, Lawrence Patchman Lang, who is not with us today, is listening and is smiling ear to ear that Dan and I are picking a Packer.
Yeah.
Dan picked 2, actually. Dan picked 2.
Yeah. I did, yeah. I still think Aaron Rodgers, again, a lot of scrutiny, but you know what? He's playing like he hasn't skipped a beat. And to be honest, I keep saying it all year. He should not be leaving the Packers after this season. I think he should stay. And, his play is the reason why.
Right. I mean, no offense to Jordan Love. He didn't get blown out by the Chiefs. No. He lost by 6 points, and he lost because Mason Crosby couldn't hit a field goal if he was standing right in front of it from the goal line.
Yeah, 2 field goals, that would have made the difference.
Exactly. Would have put him in an overtime situation, and then it's anybody's game then. We know that.
Yeah.
But I do understand why Dan is saying Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the guy is just dominant. He's strong. He's accurate. And the ball comes out of his hands as quick as it ever did out of Drew Brees.
Yeah.
And that's a comparison right there.
Exactly. And he's committed. If you have a quarterback that's committed to playing the game and giving his all effort, then you're going to win automatically. And you already know Aaron Rodgers is a winner. It's about whether he's committed or not to playing. And he is. And he clearly loves what's going on in Green Bay. So I just don't understand why he would want to leave that. But
Right.
again, I'm not Aaron Rodgers. He lives his own life, and it is what it is. But yeah, no, I still think he's one of the best in the league. And you know what? Since he's been there, done that, he's gonna be tough. He's gonna be a tough cookie to beat. He really is.
And after that first tumultuous week, losing to the Saints 38-3, we all said, and even except for Patchy, we all said, is Aaron Rodgers just showing Green Bay he doesn't give a crap, he's just going to get paid? No, he was dealing with enough. He came out, they underestimated the Saints team that was, supposed to be better than what they were, and they lost. He had a bad day. It happens.
Yeah.
I had Mac Jones. Now, Mac Jones has been absolutely dominant. And the fact is, he has not had to have 300, 400 passing yards in a game.
Yeah.
They've been able to do it on short passes, screens. They got a great running back in Damian Harris. Is having a very good year. But when it comes down to it, he's leading this team under the experienced coach Bill Belichick. And I think he just deserves the recognition here. Now, Dan put in his list Myles Garrett. I understand that, but I want to hear what Dan has to say about Myles Garrett.
Well, to me, he has that explosiveness, as a defensive end. Like, he makes big plays. And, the Browns, one of the things that I give them credit for is their defense. They somewhat stay in games. And the reason why is because of the big play out of Myles Garrett.
And Myles Garrett, of course, I think it was 2 years ago, had that issue in the Steelers where he decided to try to crush poor Mason Rudolph's head with a helmet. But he's definitely recovered from that stupidity.
Well, not only he's obviously recovered from that, and he's made him a better person, that he's now calmer, and he's going to channel that anger through his defense.
Right.
And his play's been absolutely stellar since then. Like, he took that time off. He was brilliant. He's been brilliant since.
He's strong. He's wise on the field. He has great vision. And let's face it, he can get through a line just as quick as some people like Aaron Donald, which you touched on. We'll get to him in a second. He is a defensive force to be reckoned with, just himself. And they need him in Cleveland right now. They need somebody who's going to help amp up this team, get them excited before a game. Jonathan Taylor is a name that we heard a lot last year. He had a quiet first few games, but over the last 3 weeks, he is now, mind you, the guy's been out for 2 weeks already and out for this pretty much close to the season. He's now tied Derrick Henry in yardage. Is Jonathan Taylor now the expectation to lead the league in rushing? Dan, what do you think? Is Jonathan Taylor that possibility?
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, he's helped that Colts team big time throughout the season. So I think so. Yeah.
He's got that explosiveness. He's got the speed.
Yeah. Well, he has the speed and that grit to succeed. And again, like, he's a leader in that locker room. Like, he wants to win. And his playing is showing. And, when you have someone like Carson Wentz who's serviceable and recognizing that he can be that, John Taylor could be that big back, that's what you need.
And, as I said, this Colts team needs a win today, but it's not going to come easily if it happens. It would have to be Josh Allen's worst day ever for them to lose to the Colts. God bless you. And
Thank you.
You are welcome. And see, that's what we do. We care about each other here at this network. You sneeze, we make sure we let you know about it. But in today's game, when we've touched about this, we got to stop with the single output of awards. Yeah, there could be an award for every position in football, but every year when it comes down to an MVP, it's a quarterback. There are a lot of good running backs who deserve to be mentioned, and Jonathan Taylor's one of them, who should be up there for MVP. I think there should be an award for each type of position, not just MVP, offensive rookie of the year. I mean, I guess you can leave offensive and defense rookie of the year, but you have to start considering other positions for MVP or just an award, because it's not always just the quarterback. I mean, if you want to look at numbers, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Jerry Rice, a lot of them had amazing years, but they were all credited to the quarterback. And that's an issue. These guys need to get more recognition. Football guy, ladies and gentlemen, is back. It's stronger. It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for today with all the fun games that are on this, especially my game and the game of the week, which, to be honest, should have been flexed to tonight. I think it should have been moved tonight. Who cares about Pittsburgh and the Chargers? I don't.
It's a disgrace what NBC does sometimes. In the NFL and the way they choose their primetime games, like, you have to read the room. Just another quick thing about Myles Garrett. He when asked, like, are you going to add to that leading sack total? He said, "I'm going to get at least 2 today." As he's
I think he's going to have a lot more than 2, because I honestly think that Myles Garrett is going to put the pressure on. Mind you, Jared Goff will not be starting today. Tim Boyle is your starting quarterback in Detroit. And Tim Boyle's going to look like Brett Favre after he left the Packers. He's going to be on the ground a lot.
He's brutal.
and as we were saying right before, this game, the Dallas Chiefs game, should have been the game tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. If you look at the map of the United States, what the 4:00 game it's all Dallas, KC, except Seattle and Arizona,
which is a disgrace. A disgrace.
It is all. Nobody else will be able to see again.
They couldn't. I know CBS only has one slate of games, but they couldn't add like that Seattle game to the CBS slate.
I mean,
so that everyone can watch. Come on now, what are you talking about here?
Bring Pittsburgh and Chargers back to 4:00.
Yeah.
And then put Dallas and KC on, where you're going to get the biggest audience of the day.
Yeah.
Because this is, as Dan said, it's might not happen that KC makes it to the Super Bowl. They're right now leading their division, so they definitely have a shot at the playoffs. But still, this is the game of the week. Goodell, whatever. Use your heads.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, not everybody, and this is no disrespect to Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma, but everyone wants to be hearing Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. They don't want to be hearing Kenny Albert. Right. I'd much rather hear Kenny Albert call Rangers or Knicks game than call the Seattle game that's going to be stopping people from Seattle and Arizona to be watching this. What could be a potential good matchup here in Dallas and KC.
And we will definitely see what happens. I'm excited. We know Dan's excited.
Yes.
We know everybody in the football world today. There are some great slated games. And ladies and gentlemen, you have comments, you have questions, send them to us here on when we're live. We will call you out. We'll talk to you. We'll let you know how we're feeling. Dan, can you tell the people where they can reach us on a weekly basis?
So if you go to our website, www.thesportsinsidernetwork.com, send us an email, get on that list, read our blogs. We have blogs from football to hockey to baseball and wrestling. All that's on our network. And then, of course, you can follow the network Twitter at S Insanity Real, Twitter, S Insanity Real. Follow us there. And then, follow us on Facebook as well. We're still working on other socials, so we'll get that as soon as possible. I think Patchman talked about making a TikTok, which I don't use TikTok much. I only watch stuff on TikTok. I don't make TikToks, but
I don't know how good I'd be doing with the TikTok. I might tick, but then I ain't gonna talk. But you know who we have to get if we do a TikTok, and I hope Patchman's listening. We got to get Big Al to do a video every week.
Yes,
this is a friend of ours who's been on our show on SIP. He comes out with every week a great TikTok, and the guy has made me laugh. So I'm giving him his big shout out to Big Al. We love you.
Yeah, he'll be a very good asset on that part of the network for sure.
Right. Well, that is the time for our show today. It has been fun, Dan. You and I, we work well with great. We're both excited for today. Yeah. I want to wish everybody a very happy Sunday. Enjoy the football games. And then, as Dan said, check us out. We are a fun network. We are building day by day, week by week. Come check out The Throwdown, our new basketball podcast. We're running beautifully. Zach Haynes, Alex, and Connor are doing a great job with it. And Dan, from what I understand, brings some fire to the room too.
Yeah, well, whenever they have me on, I do a fantastic job. I love basketball, so anytime they want me on, it's fine. I'll do it.
So everybody, enjoy the day, have fun. Once again, I am the one and only Mark Oldoff's Guy Halpern. With us, our Vice President,
Danny Boy Reginald, and unfortunately, I'm going to be wearing my Jet gear as I do every Sunday. I may even find a Jets bar. What am I doing?
You're talking with me, but go. Dan,
what am I doing?
You're with the Jets. You might get angry, you might yell, but you're with the Jets no matter what. You're a Jets fan. I'm a Cowboy fan. We've all lived through bad years. You more than me.
But at least your team's won Super Bowls in the past.
This is true. You guys were close a couple of times. You were close.
Yeah, to getting there.
But everybody have a great